I'm Natalia Bilbao, and here's what's happening in LA this week. Going from an eviction to becoming homeless might seem like an inevitability, but there are ways to change that outcome. Councilmembers Hugo Soto Martinez and Eunices Hernandez gathered with community organizations to support an essential ordinance that helps keep renters in their homes.
Good morning and buenos dias to everyone. My name is Hugo Soto Martinez and I'm the council member for the 13th district, and I am very proud to say that I am also a renter.
Today we're here in front of City Hall with advocates, community members, renters, to advocate to my colleagues and our LA Housing Department to move forward with the report that'll tell us how we most effectively move forward with rent increases. We're seeing in the city of LA, there are a lot of eviction filings happening, at least in 2024, over 1,400 in the city. And our district in CD1, we see 100 eviction filings a week. And so what's happening is something that's happening all over, and we need to do a better job at preventing that. Because there's a serious eviction to homelessness pipeline occurring, and if we're really, truly trying to end homelessness, we have to do a better job at preventing people from falling there in the first place. And what that looks like is preventing really large rent increases from happening that will definitely get people evicted.
Strong rent control ordinance is the difference between staying in their homes or falling into homelessness.
This very important report that the LA Housing Department already finished back in May and has not been released. This report outlines the need to update the LA RSO or Rent Stabilization Ordinance that has not been updated in over 40 years. This formula is very important because it allows for the rents to be increased. Currently we have a 4 to 6%. Rents are going to go up again on February 1st, and it's very important that we update this formula to ensure that a 3% is the maximum, not the minimum.
Esta lucha no se va a terminar hasta que nosotros logremos pasar esta ordenanza y hasta que nosotros logremos tener todas esas familias que están en la calle en sus hogares. Esto no va a parar.
So it's very important for tenants to know that they are protected, they have rights, and they need to speak up, they need to get involved, they need to reach out to their council members because our council members are here to listen to the constituents.
What I would like to say to tenants all across the city of LA is that you have folks who are advocating to try to keep people in their housing. It's much more expensive and much harder to try to house someone experiencing homelessness than it is to keep a family housed. And so you got champions here that are working and fighting to make sure that we as a city do a better job to keep people in their housing and keep your family whole.
Workers cutting artificial stone risk breathing in silica dust. In the longer term, that could lead to their developing the lung disease silicosis. Council members work with LA's Department of Public Health to get the message out about this preventable condition.
Silicosis is an occupationally acquired lung disease. It is caused by inhaling silica dust, and it leads to lung inflammation and scarring. It is an irreversible and progressive disease, but it is preventable with proper measures. It can take about 10 to 15 years to develop silicosis, but people exposed to high levels of silica dust can develop the disease much earlier, and that can cause persistent cough. It can cause shortness of breath and chest pain and weakness, extreme fatigue and other symptoms.
Some of the individuals that are most vulnerable for this disease work in construction, and anybody that is working with the material that has silica inside of it and would have to cut it to reach an appropriate angle is at risk for this.
Artificial stone is primarily comprised of mineral quartz. Quartz naturally contains high amounts of silica, and as a result, these artificial stone slabs typically contain more than 90% of silica.
We became aware of the tremendous health implications of so many construction workers and individuals in a lot of the trades that were being exposed and contracting silicosis as a result of their construction work. And with so many people in my community and throughout the city of Los Angeles that are in the building trades, that are often exposed to these now discovered health impacts, we want to make sure that we're protecting as many people as we can.
You can be exposed and not have any symptoms for a long period of time, but it is accumulating in your system, and ultimately, by the time you are showing symptoms, it's too late.
Often these symptoms can be mistaken for the cold or flu, asthma, tuberculosis, or even COVID-19. And unfortunately, there is no cure for silicosis.
Well, one of the main things that I wanted to do was make sure that people understood what were some of the things that are causing it. And a lot of it has to do with the way that they're actually handling the material.
So it's really important to use effective water controls to reduce airborne dust exposure, especially avoiding dry cutting, because it's when the stone is dry is when it creates the most dust. So it's really important to keep the stone wet when you're cutting it. Using approved HEPA vacuums, appropriate respirators, and for those working directly with and fabricating the engineered stone, using adequate PPE and respirators that can actually filter the dust can help to prevent dust particles from entering the body.
For more information about silicosis and the dangers of it, please visit EWDD, our Economic Workforce Development Department, or LA County Health Department for additional information.
This is one of those things that's entirely preventable. It is a horrible, debilitating disease that people get that they don't have to. And so really it is incumbent on all of us to do everything we can to prevent them from getting this.
Sun Valley is aptly named for its plentiful sunshine. But what can be done about the lack of shade? Councilmember Imelda Padilla joined community organizations and neighbors, all of whom were ready to get to work.
Today we are in the community of Sun Valley where I grew up. I'm so happy to be here. Very excited that we have our city family here from the LA Sanitation Department, as well as partners like the LA Conservation Corps, to plant more than 50 trees in this community.
You guys gotta go around.
Multiple volunteers are here. It's a whole process from making sure that the soil is perfectly dug, that the roots are introduced to its new home. Everything related to the logistics of a tree planting just makes me really excited to know that this is what we're doing on a Saturday morning.
This community is considered low canopy, and so our efforts this morning are to increase tree canopy and clean up the air.
This is a community that is actually what we call very tree poor, very shade poor. Again, it's one of the communities that gets really hot. There's a reason why it's called Sun Valley. But by putting more trees, we're investing in the tree canopy, which creates spaces for our community members to feel comfortable to walk, enjoy walking with their pets, and just a ton of benefits that come with more shade in the region. And I want to recognize the incredible work of the Los Angeles Sanitation and Environmental Team.
Picture the tree this way.
Whose leadership helped secure the $3 million urban forestry grant.
Our partners at the LA Sanitation Program were able to secure funding to be able to pay for the trees that we're planting today. Additionally, we're also giving away or adopting out 5-gallon trees for people's private property.
Trees are an incredible way that we can provide shade for our communities, but also help to absorb the carbon pollution that causes climate change. Trees do a lot for us, and so it's really important that the city is working with all of our residents and communities, our community-based organizations, to make Los Angeles greener and healthier.
It's about making sure that every neighborhood, regardless of income or location, shares in the benefits of a greener Los Angeles.
The community around MacArthur Park knows that the area is in need of some love, but what does that look like? Well, when you need an answer, ask a child, and the local school children had plenty of creative ideas.
Today we are here with MacArthur Park Elementary unveiling a new mural that is dedicated and is born out of the Stop the Hate campaign that is right here in the heart of our district in CD1, but also the heart of Los Angeles, in a neighborhood that needs a lot of love and needs a lot of investment. And this cultural piece here is bringing some of that love, but from the lens of the young people.
Hate Stops Here is the title of this mural. This mural was a dream in the making. I was looking for a muralist that could depict all of the wonderfulness that is MacArthur Park, that includes our students, our staff, our community.
So some of the students actually in the mural are part of the school here at MacArthur Park Elementary, and a lot of the visuals that you see are designs that the actual students came up with that I then took as inspiration to create what you're seeing here today. We met with the students and we started talking to them about not only mural design, but also Stop the Hate and what that meant to them in their immediate community. And so once we had those conversations, it started by just writing out what that meant for them, then that moved into designing, and coming up with visuals. My motivation as an artist is to create an impact in the community that's positive. It's all about the community and the unity that we formed and the love and peace that's happening here, which is the core elements to combating hate. This is huge for them. It's created a big impact, and hopefully it's the first of many projects that we can see here in Los Angeles, specifically at MacArthur Park.
What the school is doing, what this art and this mural and this love is doing to this neighborhood is a lot. And so we're going to be partnering to make sure that we can keep executing these investments to uplift this neighborhood that needs a lot of it.
Los Angeles Animal Services Pet Food Pantry is open to low-income families and individuals who are experiencing financial hardship. Qualifying Angelinos can register up to 3 pets per household and can receive a 1-gallon bag of food for each pet weekly. LA Animal Services requires that participating pets be spayed or neutered and have a current pet license. The Los Angeles Animal Services Pet Food Pantry is open every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Chesterfield Square, East Valley, and North Central locations. You can support the Pet Food Pantry by giving online or by donating unopened cat or dog food at any of the City LA Animal Services centers. For more information, visit laanimalservices.com/Pet Food Pantry. Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager Dove has secured federal funding for renovations to supportive housing at the request of Mayor Karen Bass. $1.8 million in funding will be used to make improvements at a building in Skid Row, which provides housing for the formerly unhoused. The Prentice is a 3-story building dating back from 1914, which has 44 permanent supportive housing units for single occupancy, with 2 units for support staff. The new funding will support capital improvements in the building, including renovating the storefront, remodeling community rooms, and ensuring entryways meet accessibility requirements. For more information, visit mayor.lacity.gov/press. Los Angeles City Council has approved amendments to its law against tenant harassment intended to strengthen protections for renters in the city. In 2021, the city passed the Tenant Anti-Harassment Ordinance, which bans landlords from harassing tenants and made doing so a criminal offense. This latest vote amends the law to expand the definition of tenant harassment and establish a minimum civil penalty of $2,000 per violation. The updates also aim to clarify landlord responsibilities, inform tenants of their rights, and incentivize attorneys to take on harassment cases. Once approved by Mayor Bass, the ordinance is expected to go into effect within 31 days. For more information on tenant and landlord rights, visit housing2.lacity.org.
During World War II, Point Fermin's lights were extinguished to protect against enemy attacks along the coast. Whether they were part of the coastal defense or served further afield, the Point Fermin Lighthouse welcomed all to its celebration of Veterans Day.
We didn't want to let Veterans Day go by without a recognition of our veterans here at Point Fermin Lighthouse. We're right here below Fort MacArthur, and so the lighthouse and Point was actually used even as a sonar station out on the point. But we thought we wanted to recognize the veterans today, and we also just want to say thank you.
For Veterans Day, we're honoring our veterans. We have special decorations, and we're meeting the veterans and making sure that they know that they are remembered and that we appreciate their service. I'm a 26-year resident of Point Fermin, and so it's important for me to show people the lighthouse and give them a sense of the history of the area, let them know what part Point Fermin and San Pedro played in the coastal defense of the United States. It's not a well-known part of our history, but there are a lot of people that did work here and that served in the area, and we like to remember all the veterans, whether they were here working at coastal defense or other places in the world.
There is the Point Fermin Lighthouse Society, which there are many, many volunteers that do different functions here. That people who do the garden, there's the gift shop, and there are other people who do different kinds of things that help promote the lighthouse.
It's a beautiful setting. You're right on the ocean. It's a beautiful house. It's furnished lovely from the period of times when the different keepers were here. It's full of history, but just to be here and take in the ocean, the atmosphere, the beauty of the gardens, it's just a lovely thing to really experience.
It's just one of those things that we can't do enough, and that's to thank our veterans for what they did. You know, there's just some things that no matter how many times you say it, it's not enough. And we really appreciate all the sacrifices that our veterans have given us to have our life that we have here in the United States.
Many veterans who are able answered the call to public service for a second time. Esteban Aguilar is one such veteran. He continues his Army career while he serves in LA's police department.
When September 11th happened, I was in middle school. My teacher, she turned on the TV and we actually saw what was happening. And I knew immediately then that I wanted to do some type of service. I wanted to serve my country, my community. I wanted to be somebody who had a purpose. And so I subsequently joined the United States Army in 2009, active duty, immediately deployed to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. It's been a great experience. Once I completed my tour in Iraq, we got the order to actually deploy again a second time, but in this case it was a support of Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. That experience was worse as far as the danger that was there and the exposure to getting shot at, getting blown up. It was more traumatic in Afghanistan than it was in my experience in Iraq. I eventually had the opportunity to attend Ranger School, one of the most challenging courses in the Army. There's a very selected few that get the opportunity to go. It's not for the weak or faint-hearted. It was a great experience. So a lot of those core values, things that I learned in the military, being disciplined, how we conduct ourselves, to take initiative during stressful situations, and respecting other people. A lot of values, a lot of the culture in the LAPD is very similar to the military lifestyle. While you're serving not only the community of Los Angeles, but I can still serve my nation by still serving in the California Army National Guard, as a part-time reservist. So Veterans Day is important because you get the opportunity to thank other people for their service. It's important to me because I sacrificed a lot of time, a lot of birthdays that I missed, a lot of family events, things in life that I didn't really get the opportunity to experience because I was either serving overseas or serving my nation during state of emergencies, whether it be the fires missions, the riots. Having that opportunity to thank those who raised their hand to serve their country, just appreciating and thanking their service goes a long ways.
For Veterans Day this year, the City of LA's fire department highlighted Captain Albert Navarro. His role in public safety owes a great deal to the leadership skills he gained as a Marine.
It all started when I was a kid. The military was always something that I was drawn to. I think I was a soldier for Halloween for probably 10 years or something. I had just graduated high school. I was a graduate of San Fernando High School, and I was working at Subway, which is my high school job. And a buddy of mine that was with me at Subway, he said, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the recruiting office after work today." He was my ride home. And I said, "Oh, well, I guess I have no choice. I'm going with you." And I went with him after work. We went to the recruiting office, and that was it. I was in Iraq in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I was a squad leader. My job was to lead these men, these Marines in battle. And it's something that it's very nerve-wracking, obviously, because I'm the senior Marine for these young Marines, and I'm 22 years old at the time. I'm responsible for everything. I'm responsible for their life. I would say that was probably the most difficult of my deployments. We lost 19 Marines at the time. We ended up losing 21 total, and we had about over 200 that were wounded. It was a pretty significant battle, but I will say that I'm extremely proud that I was able to be a part of that battle, and that I'm proud of the fact that I was given the opportunity to lead these Marines in battle. And I was awarded a Bronze Star with Valor for my deployment in Iraq and Operation Phantom Fury. Fortunately for me, when I did get out, I got on at about the year mark. I got called by LAFD, and here I am, 16 years later. I think that the Marine Corps prepared me, I would say, tremendously with being a firefighter, because they instill in you that discipline. They instill in you that esprit, we call it esprit de corps, that love for country, but it also teaches you a lot of things. I learned responsibility, all things that would directly correlate to my job now as a firefighter, and now my job now as a captain. A lot of the Marines I served with, most of us are in some kind of public safety. So I think it's just that love for country. The same pride that I have for being a Marine is that same pride that I have for being a part of an organization like the Los Angeles Fire Department. If you are a veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department or the Los Angeles Fire Department, we do have a new organization. It's the Los Angeles Fire and Police Veterans Association. That's LAFPVA.org.
It was Helen Keller who said, "Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much." In this week's feature story, our Maria Hall-Brown meets Tim Watkins, who continues the work of his father in providing togetherness in the Watts community.
The WLCAC was founded in 1965. The man who created the whole thing, Ted Watkins. Today, his son continues on with his mission. What did you see as a young man with the LACAC and your father and the community and everything this place offers growing up?
I learned to find joy in a place of despair, learning to appreciate the remarkable hope that people have. We've been convinced to think we're poor, but the truth is we're rich with potential, with possibilities.
We're surrounded by breathtaking art in this room, but it's all over this complex. Everywhere you go, there's sculpture and there's painting and there's work.
It's what the world needs now. It's love, it's peace, it's passionate, peaceful communication. Every piece of art you have seen here. In communities like Watts, artists that would otherwise probably be worse off find a way to eke out an existence, even though they're part of a starving category, because there's a tolerance and acceptance for alternatives to war and violence and destruction.
I know that one of the critical components of this wonderful facility is job training and job placement and education for particular careers. What is that program, and what are you proud that you've been able to accomplish there?
So we've got the job training and development. And in that area, we get a lot of people back to work that have been long-term unemployed or hard to employ. So we hire locally. 80% of our workforce lives within walking distance. Senior services, close to 2,000 meals a day delivered to people, hot and ready to eat. And then it goes on to climate services. We've got a 2.5-acre farm in the middle of what's been declared a food desert. And through that, we give out close to 40,000 pounds of food every month, free of charge. We have the enrichment division, which does all the things that you've noticed in this building with glass blowing and ceramics firing and embroidery, silk screening, movie and music production. All the different things that we do here is because we believe that all the other things we do with homeless services and so on, that only gets to 3/4 of the human being. It's when they can express themselves creatively that their souls begin to heal, and they begin to see each other as contributors to the better side of the community.
What can people do to help you?
We have a website that talks about all the things that we do. You can get more information there. You can call us and we'll get you involved.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling all creatives. If a graphic novel, historical tale, poetry, or zine is on your to-do list, Los Angeles Public Library has you covered. Head to the Central Library on Saturday, November 23rd for a celebration of authors and zines at Independent Voices. This is a day of panel discussions, workshops, and other activities celebrating the written word, self-expression, and DIY culture. From beginner how-tos to completed what-nows, meet the librarians and community partners who can help your expression become reality. Catch Independent Voices at the Central Library on Saturday, November 23rd, beginning at 10 a.m. through 4 p.m. For more information, visit lapl.org/events. The Native American arts organization LA Skins hosts the 6th annual Hollywood Powwow on Saturday, November 23rd. Enjoy this free event in the heart of Hollywood, which will feature traditional singing, dancing, and youth performances from numerous tribes around the country. This all-day celebration of indigenous cultures takes place in the courtyard of the Ovation Hollywood Center. Head to Hollywood for the 6th annual Hollywood Powwow on Saturday, November 23rd, beginning at 11 a.m. and going through to 7 p.m. For more information, visit laskinsfest.com. Join the Los Angeles Public Library at the Central Library for 7 Labors of Liberty on November 24th. This event celebrates the women, life, and freedom movement and also marks the United Nations International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. The play, The 7 Labors of Liberty, depicts the Iranian struggle for human rights over 4 decades. The event at the Mark Taper Auditorium will feature a theatrical capture of the play. The afternoon also features keynote speakers and a panel discussion. That's the 7 Labors of Liberty at the Central Library on Sunday, November 24th, beginning at 1:15 p.m. For more information, visit lapl.org/events. And that's a look at some things to do.
And that's all for this week. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. Remember that you can watch us online anytime at lacityview.org, and we're also on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.